Okay, this guy, Lee Konitz, don't know how you're meant to pronounce it, was a jazz saxophonist from Chicago of Jewish descent. His career started in 1945. He's had some association with Miles Davis, but to be fair, I think that's probably true of every jazz musician that appears on this list, or that certainly come across so far. He has also had a connection with the pianist Lennie Tristano. Those are the two names in the list of people he's been associated with that I particularly knew. Of course, as a jazz person, it has got lots of records. Their production rate was huge generally. He died of COVID-19 related complications in 2019. Lennie Tristano was an American jazz multi-instrumentalist, although he's mostly known as a pianist. He lost his sight at the age of around 9 or 10, which was in the late 20s, and was playing several instruments at that sort of age and a little bit later. Saxophone, trumpet, guitar, drums, and piano, apparently. Wikipedia claims that at 11 he was playing clarinet in a brothel. I guess he, being blind, maybe he wasn't going to be disturbed by anything that he saw. When he left school, he went and studied for a degree in music, in performance, and did a couple of years further study. And then in the 40s onwards, he started playing sax and piano and became mostly a pianist from then. His career spanned from then till basically the end of the 60s. He doesn't have as large a catalogue of recordings as some other jazz luminaries. He was apparently always teaching and had a structured approach to teaching improvisation, which was quite a new thing then. At the end of the 60s, he gave up on doing concerts. He said he didn't like to travel, and he kind of seemed to basically retire, but it's not clear when recordings stopped. He has been quoted as disliking many things, particularly including commercialism in jazz. He was people have said that he was gentle but outspoken and particularly lacking in tact. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is, of course, an album of jazz music. And as always, when it comes to jazz, I often enjoy listening to these jazz albums, but I am by no means an expert in jazz. There may be a whole load of nuances in the music that I miss because of this. So I guess apologies for that if you're a jazz fanatic, but actually one of my main aims for these reviews is to try and talk about these albums from the perspective of kind of maybe as a normal listener, whatever normal means. It's a broad base of listening anyway, this list that I'm using. Back to the album. So it was recorded in 1949 to 1950. I'm not entirely sure what formats it came out in before then. So the list that I'm working from lists it as a 1949 album. At that stage, if it did, it could have come out as a 33 1/3 LP at that point, but I don't think it did. I think maybe some of the tracks were collected together as a collection of 78 RPM records, which is what albums used to be before the LP format came about. It was released as an LP, certainly in 1955, and that's the version that I've listened to. So what we've got here is we've got the alto sax of Lee, we've got bass and drums, same bassist all the way through, different drummers for different tracks. I think there's 3 different drummers. Piano in all tracks, but only tracks 1 to 5 have got Lennie Tristano playing. There's guitar on some tracks, and on the tracks that don't have guitar, there's a tenor sax. So it's a fairly small jazz band. I have to say the piano is that is the Lennie Tristano stuff is definitely good. He's got very nimble fingers. Mostly it's fast jazz, some of it's slower. It's not tunes that I know. Most of these are compositions by Lee Konitz. One of them is a Lennie Tristano composition. It's not particularly, it's improvisation and it does wander around, but it's not disturbingly free or difficult in the sense of being very experimental. That's the word that I'm looking for. So it's not kind of that way out. It's quite accessible. The recording quality. So recording quality is something obviously that improved over time. Before a certain point, somewhere I think in the mid-50s, one of the characteristics of recording seemed to be that the kind of I'm trying to work out how to describe it. It's as if the notes die faster than they would, as if there's some kind of noise gate being used. It might just be that they're being recorded in quite dead rooms on purpose, but it feels like it snatches off the ends of the notes. And there's a certain feeling of compression as well that you get from recordings that are older. And this has that. And maybe it sounds like it was recorded in 1949 rather than 1955, which is absolutely true. So it's pleasant enough. I quite enjoyed it. Like I said, I wouldn't be able to tell you what the finer points here were. If you're a jazz expert and you want to enlighten me, please do so in the comments below. Or if you're not and you just want to give me a reaction, I'd love to hear from you. That's it from me for now.